Hey there, my name's Curtis Lucas, and you're watching Empire Building. In this video, I need to take one more look at Riot and Mara. And then I promise I'm going to get onto the other cryptocurrency mining companies that I've been researching. I think for most of you who have been watching all of my videos, it's been pretty clear what my position is between Mara and Riot. I still get criticism every time I say anything negative about Riot, and that's okay. But it has given many the impression that I'm somehow anti-Riot. Yes, my portfolio is currently anti-Riot, but as I've said many times before, my decision to sell my Riot shares had very little to do with the health of the company as compared to Mara. Me being a numbers guy, I look for the value. And in my opinion, these two companies are fierce competitors who will always try to one-up the other. And I think owning both long-term is an extremely responsible way to invest your money. But in the short term, occasionally markets provide you with discounts on some companies as opposed to others. And right now, that discount is on Mara. Now, some of you may not agree with that. And again, that is totally fine. Riot is going to do great. So if you don't want to own Mara, then you don't have to. And I've also chosen not to accept the apparent risk of the Riot and Coinbase agreement. And again, I've said it before, there's every likelihood that that agreement will get revised and something more long-term set up in its place. They have no choice. These miners are coming, they need somewhere to put them. But even if something was to go sideways there, they've got plenty of cash to deploy these miners elsewhere. It's just that right now, we don't know where that is. If you go back 6 months, I was all in Riot. I dumped my Mara shares because it became apparent to me that Riot was substantially further ahead than Mara. In fact, in terms of installed capacity, that is still true today. Riot has nearly 3 times the installed hash rate as Mara does as of today. But here's the thing. In the stock market, you don't evaluate companies on what they have today. You evaluate them on what they will have in the future. And this is when I realized that Mara was trading at an incredible discount. As it stands right now with the announcements that have been made by both companies, their maximum future installed capacity with all of the miners that they have confirmed as ordered. The deliveries for these miners will be completed by both companies by the end of October 2021. But the disbursements of these miners between the two companies is not equal and not balanced. This is how things are going to play out over the next 10 months. As it stands today, Mara has 294 pentahash per second of installed hash rate capacity versus Riot with an 842 pentahash per second installed capacity. As I mentioned, nearly 3 times that of Mara. But as soon as January rolls around, things will start to change fast. In January, Mara will be accepting delivery on 4,000 S19 miners, whereas Riot will be accepting delivery on 2,000. This will give Mara a 150% increase to their total cumulative hash rate, bringing them to 734 pentahash per second versus Riot's new total of 1,062. In February, Mara will be accepting 6,300 S19 miners versus Riot's 2,200. And this is when Mara will pass Riot in its hash rate capacity for the first time. In March, the pace of delivery will continue to outpace that of Riot, bringing that capacity to nearly 2 exahash per second. And Mara will hold on to this lead throughout the bulk of the year, until the recent order that Riot made from Bitmain are completed. I think there's a pretty clear signal buried in here that acquiring more S19 miners is going to be extremely difficult throughout the balance of 2021, considering Riot chose to opt for the less powerful S19J miners. I would suspect that if they could, they would have continued to accept delivery on the S19s. But that's just something I'm inferring based on the fact that they switched. But the bottom line is you can see clearly that both of these companies are going to be expanding at a very fast pace. For Mara, barely a month will go by where they won't be installing more hash rate than they currently have available in total. And no doubt both companies will announce future plans to expand even further. The only reason that I am currently weighted in Mara is simply to take advantage of the discount. Both companies are extremely undervalued at this point. But me personally, long term, I evaluate both these companies essentially the same. So the way I look at it, as an example, if I had $1,000 to invest at the close of the market on Friday, I could have bought Riot shares at $13.12, or I could have bought Mara shares at $10.92. In my view, both stocks are going to $100. But that $2 price difference at these levels translates into a lot more when you get closer to $100. Assuming this statement is true, that both companies will be worth about the same when they reach $100 a share, $1,000 invested in Riot at the close of the market on Christmas Eve would net you $6,622 when Riot reaches $100 a share. That same $1,000 invested in Mara would net you $8,157 when Mara reaches $100 a share. But if you personally do not value these companies the same, then the choice you make might be different. I am going to be paying very close attention to these two players as time goes on. You might have noticed the last press release that Riot put out where they announced that they'll be investing in research and development of Immersion module technology. This is basically where they take these ASIC miners and they submerge them into a tank. And the liquid in that tank absorbs the heat from the ASIC miners and they're able to be pumped out into cooling towers to get rid of that heat. This technology would actually allow miners to operate in even hot climates while still keeping their operating costs low. It would also allow you to extend the life of the miners themselves. Although, honestly, at the rate of expansion of this technology, by the time these miners reach the end of their natural life cycle, their efficiencies usually make them not profitable anymore. And it's time to upgrade them anyways. I also couldn't help but notice that they're developing this in a modular style system, which I think is fantastic. And Riot has clearly seen success with this with the modular system used at Coinmint. Riot is going to be partnering with Enigma Digital Assets, the company who's developing this technology. I did try to dig up a little more information on this company, but they currently do not have a website, and as far as I can tell, are a pretty small operation located in Switzerland. I was able to find some information on the owner of this company, but nothing that I would consider relevant. They will also be working with a company called Lancium on this project, who will be providing software that's supposed to allow for optimization of energy usage, to allow miners to maximize their efficiency depending on the jurisdiction that they live in. It's not exactly clear what Riot intends to do with this technology, but I will say this. This is exactly the kind of thing that these companies are going to need to differentiate themselves from the pack. Just like I said before, sometimes in speculative stocks, the best story wins. But for me, right now, I'm putting the value on whoever can hash it out the most, the fastest. Because as Bitcoin's price rises, all that's going to matter is who has the most Bitcoin. If you are interested in learning more about this immersion technology, I recommend a video done by the Voskcoin YouTube channel. He toured a facility utilizing this technology and interviewed the owner of that mine. I learned everything I needed to know about mining before I got started doing it by watching the Voskcoin YouTube channel. I'll leave a link for that video down in the description. So I hope this clears up the debate on my position on these stocks. I am long Mara and waiting for the scales to balance before redistributing that elsewhere. It doesn't mean that I'm going to be holding only Mara all the way to $100. As soon as the scales balance out, there's no longer any benefit to doing that. So I hope you got some value out of this. If you did, leave a like. And if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button and join this growing channel while we continue to dive deep into this cryptocurrency mining sector. 2021 is shaping up to be one hell of a ride. So we're going to do our best to navigate it. That's all for this one. Now let's get back to empire building. Bye.